Everybody, here's a video. The video that I sent you guys earlier doesn't work, so here's hopefully a better video as an example for some of the notation stuff that we're doing. And you really need to watch the videos before you come to class. All right, so here I have a line. I have 3 points on the line, and then I have point G, which is over here, which is a little bit off the line. And what I want to do is I want to go through these 8 items right here and show an example of the notation. Now, the notation is relatively inflexible, which means you've got to get it because all little mistakes could mean something else or not make sense altogether. The first question asks for a point. So all I got to do with a point is I just give a letter. And so here's the first point that I see, which is D. So I'll just write D. Now, if I'm asked to give a number of points, I need to separate them by commas. So, for example, I could say A, comma, point W, and then point G. Okay. Next question. Give me an example of notation for a line. Well, I see a line here. And so what I'm going to do is I have to take 2 points. I'll take D and A. And then I have to put the line symbol above. Now, here's some things where I'm talking about the inflexibility. If I put commas there, that's incorrect. If I don't have this line symbol above, it's incorrect. Okay. Now, for this very same line, there's other names. I could pick any 2 points that lie on that line. Like I could take A and W, put a line symbol above, and this line, AW, is the exact same line as DA. Now, there's other things that you could do. You could say, hey, listen, I want you to take this picture and I want you to picture line AG. So totally different, not the same line, but line AG. And so if I were looking at the picture, I would say, all right, A and G lie on the line, and imagine this line that goes through those 2 points. It's not drawn here. You could draw it if you wanted to, but you don't have to. So that's what I mean. There's some inflexibility, but there's also some ways to talk about lines that are even in a picture. Next thing is segment. Let's say I want to talk about the set of points that go from A to W. Well, I just write AW. Again, it's 2 points, and then put a segment symbol above. Notice there's no arrows at the end of it. This exact same segment I could call WA because it's the same set of points. If I wanted to talk about this segment from D to W, I would say segment DW. All right, let's move on to rays. It's critical with rays that you always have the endpoint come first. So if I'm talking about the ray that starts here at A and goes this direction, I would say A first because I put where it starts, and then it goes this direction. I have to give one other point on the line, and I would say ray AW. This is now the ray symbol, and the ray symbol always points to the right. If I want to talk about the ray that starts at A and goes this direction, I would say ray A, then I have to give one other point, right? D, and it always points to the right. And that's D as in donut. As I'm looking at it, kind of looks like a B. Now, here's something that we haven't talked about in class yet. And I did see this as answers to some of the questions that I've asked in class. Let's say I just wrote this, AW. That's not a line. It's not a ray. It's not a segment. What it means is the distance from A to W. You'll start seeing this notation soon. So if there's no symbol, it means the distance from A to W. Next thing, collinear points. Collinear points are points that lie on the same line. So D, A, and W, remember how I list points separated by commas, are called collinear points because they all lie on this line. Non-collinear points would be like D, A, G, because there isn't one line that goes through all 3 of them. Those are called non-collinear. Plane. Now, we've seen lots of different ways to do planes so far. There's cursive letters. There's no cursive letter here. But let's say I want to name the plane that these points lie in. What I do is I pick 3 points that are non-collinear. They don't lie on the same line. Like the name of the plane of my paper, I could say is D, A, G. And notice I don't separate them by commas because if I do, those are points. I could also say WAG because those are 3 non-collinear points. I could also give any order of those 3 points that I wanted to. Coplanar points are points that lie in the same plane. So if you look at these points that I've listed here, these are all coplanar. Okay. An example of a point that is not coplanar would be the tip of my pen. And some of those 4 points there. There isn't one plane that goes through all 4 or all 5 of those points. So that would be non-coplanar. Okay, so coplanar points, here's some examples in our picture. D, A, W, G, those are all coplanar because they lie in the plane of the paper. Hope that helps. Sending you this video real soon.